Good day, sir. I'm Maria Josemi Bilicaros from Section L1, and for this video, we'll be taking a step-by-step at the C program that converts Roman numerals to their decimal equivalent and expresses the result in English word format. So this program, it uses input from a file, then process the Roman numerals and writes the result back into an output file. So we will break down each part of the code so that it will understand the logic and flow. So here, as you can see, it provides the libraries that provides basic functionality for the input and output operations, as well as the memory management and string handling. For this Roman character to decimal function, this converts a single Roman numeral character into its decimal value. So it uses switch statement to match the Roman character and return the corresponding decimal number. If the character is not valid Roman numeral, so it will return 0. For example here, if the Roman numeral character is I, so it will return 1. For V, it returned 5, and so on. So for the function Roman string to decimal, it converts a Roman numeral string into its decimal equivalent by processing each character by the string. So for this pointer, it contains the Roman numeral. This string is expected to contain valid Roman numerals like IX that corresponds to 9. So first, it initializes the decimal value. This used to store the decimal value as the Roman numeral string is processed. That is set to initialize to 0. And for the length, this stores the length of the Roman numeral string obtained using strlen. So the function starts by setting the decimal value to 0 and determining the length of the Roman numeral string. So for this for loop, it used to process each Roman numeral character in the string. In the current value, it obtains the Roman character to decimal function that converts the current Roman numeral character to its decimal value. Like for example, I, it will convert to 1, and so on. Also for the next value, it obtained using the Roman character to decimal function, which it checks the next Roman numeral character if it exists. So if the current numeral or value is smaller than the next value, this means a subtraction rule applies. Like for IV, for this example, IX 10 minus 1, so it will become 9. So otherwise, add current value to decimal value. If the current numeral is the last character in the string, so no next value is indicated, then the additional logic applies. So after the loop process all character, the function returned the computed decimal value. So for the number to word function, this converts a given integer into its English word representation. So with the initialization of these data arrays, such as units, the teens, tens, and large units, for the units, it holds the word equivalent for numbers from 0 to 9. For the teens, hold the word equivalent for numbers from 10 to 19, and for the tens, it for multiple like 20 to 40. Then for the large units, these hold the names for larger number units like thousands, millions, and billions. So in the handle 0 case, if the input number is 0, so the function immediately sets the output to 0 and returns. Then initialize output and prepare for groups. An empty string output is initialized to store the word representation. In an array groups, array is used to store chunks of 3 digits from the input number, like thousands, millions. So a group index tracks the how many groups of 3 digits there are. Then it will split the number into groups of 3 digits. So the function divides the number by 1000 repeatedly and stores the remainder in array groups. So each group hold a 3-digit chunk of the number. So it will process each group of 3 digits. So the function then processes each group from the highest, which is the most significant, to the lowest. So for each group of the hundreds, if the group contains hundreds, so it added to the output in the form of x hundred. So this function read Roman numerals. This read the Roman numeral string from a text file and stores them in an array. So for the parameters in the const character file name, which is the pointer, this is the name of the file that contains the Roman numerals. While for the character Roman numerals, it is a 2D array to store the Roman numeral string. So each string can hold up to 19 characters. And this open the file in read mode. If the file can't be opened, so it displays an error and exits the program. So if gets reads each line of the file, storing it in Roman numeral count. It stops when there's no more data to read. When fgets reads a line, so it often includes a new line at the end. With the use of the string complement span, this finds the position of the new line and replaces it with a null character to mark the end of the string. After reading a line, the count variable increases to track how many Roman numeral strings we read. Then it closes the file. Then finally, the function returns the total number of Roman numeral read from the file. So the function stores the Roman numeral strings in the Roman numeral array and tells you how many strings were read by returning the count. So this line of code defines a function write result to file that writes the result from an array into a file, but in words, like number of 1 becomes 1. So it is part of a larger program that reads Roman numerals, converts them to numbers, and then writes the number in word form into a file. So the function saves the converted numbers in word form to a file. This opens a file given by a file name in write mode. So if the file cannot be opened, an error message is displayed using p-error and the program exits. So the loop goes through each number in the result array. So the function number to words convert the current number results I into word. Example 5 becomes 5 in a word and stores it in a word buffer. So the word stored in word buffer is written to the file, followed by a new line. Once all numbers have been processed, so the file is closed. So the main function handles the program task. It starts by reading Roman numerals from a file called input.txt and saves them in an array. Then it changes each Roman numeral into a number and stores the result. If there are more than 3 Roman numerals, it adds the value of the 4th numeral to to the third one. So after that, it writes the numbers in words into a file called output.txt, leaving out the last adjust number. Finally, it ends by returning 0, meaning the program ran successfully. So here, this is the input, then its output from the output.txt. So that's it for the demonstration. Thank you, sir.